We are not the body. The very first lesson of Bhagavad-gita given by Lord Krishna, which Srila Prabhupada repeated again and again. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumarang yovanang jara tata dehantara prapti dhirastatra namohyati. Krishna teaches we, or every individual being, is the person within the body, the soul within the body. The body changes from childhood to youth and gradually to old age. Then the body dies, which means changing body. A sober person is not bewildered by this change. So Srila Prabhupada would often explain this in a way which makes it very easy to understand, that I remember I was a young child, I remember I was a youth, I remember I was a young man, middle-aged man, now I am an old man. The body changes, but the person stays the same. Therefore, we can understand that the person is different from the body. The personality remains the same. So theoretically, it should be easy to understand that we are not the body. I'm different. The body is chemicals. I'm not chemicals. This body is composed of hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, and so many other chemicals, but I am not chemicals. I am more than a conglomeration of chemicals. I'm not the body means I'm also not the identity that I equate with the body. We are not Christian or Muslim or Hindu or atheist or even a human or a male or a female according to the bodily identification. Theoretically, it should be easy to understand, but it's maybe the most difficult thing to communicate, this very first lesson, that we are not the body. You are not that body, because we are all emotionally invested in our false identity of thinking, I am this body, and everything in relation to this body is what I am. We are conditioned to think, for instance, if we're born and raised in Japan, to think, I'm Japanese, and the cultural norms of Japan are what shape me. I have to follow these. That's me. I am Japanese. We may feel very uncomfortable if we're told that actually you have nothing to do with the body whatsoever. You have no actual connection with the body. It's just an illusion. Promoting this could be seen as subversive. For instance, if we preach in China that you're not Chinese, or in Russia that you're not Russian, the government is likely to become disturbed because they're doing the best they can to create a spirit of nationalism based on bodily identity. Try telling someone born in a Muslim family, you're not a Muslim. You've had many, many births previously. Now you're born in a Muslim family and you think you're a Muslim because you're trained to think like that, but you're not. You are an eternal spiritual being who is presently in a body whereby you identify yourself as a Muslim, but prior to that you had so many other bodies. And after this you may get so many others also, in which you've never heard of Islam. Of course, there are Muslims around the world who are waking up to this reality and accepting it. That Islam is just another imposition on the mind and on the ego and our whole way of thinking. But it's not me. It's not you. What about Hinduism? To think I am a Hindu is also an artificial imposition on the ego, because the spiritual living being, who we are, is not intrinsically Hindu or non-Hindu. Still, even if we theoretically accept that I'm not the body, nor the mind, or the ego that goes with it, it's a huge breakthrough. It's a huge start just to accept that, even theoretically, which is one reason why speaking these topics to persons raised in Hindu culture, it generally gets better accepted than among persons of other backgrounds. We often find bemusement among people raised in the West when the topic of reincarnation is raised. Many nowadays are accepting it, but there are still many who can't relate to it at all. It seems almost unbelievable, but there are some Western Buddhists, as they call themselves, who claim to be Buddhists, but they don't believe in reincarnation. It sounds ridiculous. How can you be a Buddhist and not believe in reincarnation? They seem to like some of the ideas of Buddhism, and they like to identify themselves as Buddhists, but they don't believe in reincarnation. Whew, strange. If we accept that reincarnation is a fact, then logically it follows that I'm not this body. I'm just in a body. I've been in so many bodies. But it's very hard to let go of the bodily concept of life. Dehatma buddhi, identifying the self as the body. But it's an illusory identification. When we can understand that I am not the body, I'm not everything that people expect me to be in relation to the body, that, okay, you're born in a Japanese body and you have to be Japanese, for instance. But when you realize that that's not my identity, this knowledge is liberating. But to realize it, to let go of bodily identification is hard. You say, I'm not the body, well, stick a pin into it. It seems like I am the body. Therefore, there are processes of yoga, as outlined in Bhagavad-gita, processes to help us to come to the platform of spiritual realization, understanding that I am not the body. There is karma yoga. Karma means work. People work to get some result which they can enjoy via the body or the mind. But karma yoga teaches us to work without desiring to enjoy the results. So that distances us from the results of the work and helps us to begin to become detached from thinking that I am this body and everything I do should be for the benefit of this body. Then there's Jnana Yoga, by which we deliberately cultivate understanding that I am not this body, I am Brahman, I am spiritual, and undertaking austerities, cultivating detachment, again to release us from attachment to the concept that I am the body. In Hatha Yoga, another kind of yoga, there are various breathing techniques and meditation whereby we come to realize that I'm not the body, and we can maybe even detach the astral body or the subtle body from the gross body. And Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion, cultivating our spiritual identity, understanding our identity not to be this body. So all these processes of yoga, they, at least initially, work on helping us to understand and realize that we are not the body. But it is not enough to know what not we are, or what we are not, but we have to come to a more positive platform of understanding who we actually are. If we accept that I am an eternal spiritual being, I'm not anything to do with this body, which means I'm not anything to do with the whole big world going on around me, then who am I? Or what am I? And that answer we'll also find in Bhagavad-gita, that as eternal spiritual beings, we are all eternal parts and parcels of Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in this material world, we are struggling because we identify with our body, mind, and senses. Mamai vangsho jiva loke, jiva bhuta sanatanaha, manashashtan indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad-gita that all the living beings are my eternal fragmental parts. My eternal parts and parcels. Not exactly fragmented, but we're a tiny drop. The example can be given, it's something like drops of water compared to the whole ocean. So we're all eternal parts and parcels of Krishna. And now, in the present situation, because we identify with the body, mind, and senses, we are struggling in material existence. Our real identity, our real happiness, our real freedom is as a servant of Krishna. That might sound contradictory. How can we be free if we are a servant of Krishna or anyone else? But if we identify ourselves or recognize our identity as servants of Krishna, that is our constitutional position of true happiness, to be sheltered by Krishna. That means we are free from the illusion of trying to enjoy separately from Krishna, identifying ourselves separately from Krishna. So to be established as a servant of Krishna means that is our free position, our happy position, because Krishna is the most kind and loving master. We get freedom in this knowledge. Bondage or illusion? Which do you choose? First of all, understand, I'm not this body. Identification with the body binds me to repeated birth and death. That is an illusory identification. Bondage or illusion on one side, and freedom and happiness in service to Krishna on the other Which do you choose? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.